Sapphire is getting serious in pushing harder into the motherboard market. With the new PhantomLink edition, the manufacturer is launching an exciting new series. Today we are taking a closer look at the NITRO Plus X870EA PhantomLink Polar Edition. We explain what's behind PhantomLink, how it works, and where this new high-end board might still have some issues. Probably the biggest highlight of this motherboard is right in its name, PhantomLink. This is Sapphire's approach to extremely clean look inside the PC case. The main function is powering the graphic card directly via an additional slot on the motherboard. The annoying and often bulky 12V 2x3 cable, which usually runs right through the middle of the case to the graphic card, is therefore completely eliminated. Instead, the cable is simply connected directly to the right side of the motherboard. By the way, even though Sapphire calls the Connect GC HPVR in the documentation, the manufacturer confirmed to us upon request that this port is BTF-compatible. This means you could theoretically run an Asus BTF GPUs on it as well. If you're wondering whether you are tied to PhantomLink graphic cards, no. You can of course use completely standard graphic cards on this motherboard. The special Goldfinger adapter for power is optional and is only needed for PhantomLink graphic cards. Powering the card through the motherboard doesn't just look better, it has another theoretical advantage. You can integrate protective circuits. We unfortunately recently had to experience firsthand with an RTX 5090 that the current 12V connectors are quite prone to overheating and in the worst case can cause cable fires. PhantomLink is specified for up to 600 watts under load. The latest BTS standard even allows up to 1000 watts. Sapphire promises a smart feature here. The current per pin is measured. If a pin exceeds the critical mark of 15 ampere, the motherboard ARGB lighting starts blinking orange and the graphic card is throttled. This can also be monitored via the Trix software. That sounds like a good approach to prevent cable fires. But now comes the big but. Upon our inquiry, Sapphire confirmed that this protective mechanism is currently only implemented on the corresponding graphic card and not on the motherboard itself. The software and the LEDs do warn you, but the motherboard cannot shut down on its own. If you miss the warning, you are unfortunately just as helpless in the event of an actual cable fire. We would have wished for the protective circuit to intervene directly on the motherboard. Let's look at the technical foundation. The block diagram shows the PCIe 5.0 lanes are inherently limited on the AM5 platform. The motherboard has to split these between the graphic card, RAM, fast SSDs and ports like used before. The top PCIe slot delivers the full 16 lanes in the Gen 5 standard. However, there's a catch. If you use the primary M2 slot right above with the largest cooler for your SSD, it siphons off 4 lanes. Your graphic cards will then only run with 12 or 8 lanes. Sapphire probably assumes here that current graphic cards don't fully utilize the full Gen 5 bandwidth anyway, making the performance lose barely measurable. The second M2 slot also offers PCIe 5, but uses its own lanes that are independent of the graphic card. It sits together with the bottom 2 SSD slots under a massive, extremely stylish cooling plate. A huge plus during assembly, all M2 coolers and the SSDs themselves can be clipped in completely tool-free. The 2 larger PCIe slots only one with PCIe 4 and are each connected to the X870EA chipset with 4 lanes. If you occupy the middle slot, however, the third M2 slot is deactivated as they share the bandwidth. The bottom slot on the other hand remains independent. Sapphire has equipped the board with several features that massively simplify everyday life of testers and PC builders. At the top right there are dedicated power and reset buttons. Even more importantly, there's a Port 80 debug display which shows you exact error codes during boot in case the PC ever acts up. The design is a real eye-catcher anyway. The ARGB lighting is stylish but kept simple. Under a mesh grille on the I/O cooler, the NITRO Plus logo lights up, which can of course be easily synchronized with your remaining components. The lower area of the whiteboard remains unlit, ensuring an elegant, unobtrusive look. Sapphire doesn't skimp on the I/O panel. The highlight here is the 2 USB 4 ports with an enormous 40 GB per second display support and 15 watts of power delivery. In addition, there are 8 more USB-R ports for your peripherals. You're also traveling really fast on the network. Instead of the standard gigabit port, you get a 5 gigabit LAN right off the box via Realtek controller. For wireless connections, Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth are on board. Internally on the board you will find, among other things, a front header for a fast USB-C with 30 watts of charging power, as well as plenty of PWM headers for the pump, CPU cooler and case fans. Let's come to our conclusion on the Sapphire NITRO Plus X870EA PhantomLink Polar. Sapphire delivers an absolute stylish and high quality high-end motherboard here, which lays the foundation for a very clean PC build thanks to the PhantomLink technology. The white design is top-notch, the BIOS is clearly structured, the tool-free M2 assembly is a blessing, while the high transfer rates are convincing. The fact that the primary graphic card slot shares at lanes with the top SSD is a compromise in the current generation that you can live with. However, the board also leaves some potential on the table. The fact that Sapphire didn't install back connect ports on the rear breaks a bit with the extremely clean PhantomLink approach. But we see the biggest waste potential in safety. The smart sensors against melting power cables are located on the GPU and not on the main board. With a price of nearly $599, the board definitely belongs to the most expensive X870E models on the market. Companion boards are sometimes available starting around $229. But if you are willing to spend a bit more for the elegant wide design, the premium features and the clean cable management provided by PhantomLink, you get an all-around strong motherboard here.